statement that goes back a long, long way, long before Christianity, long before Christ. The unreflected, or I think the word that Socrates really uses is the unexamined life is not worth living. And I think supervision, or the role of supervision, helps us to enter into that space where we do begin to learn that the reflected life is very much a treasure, not only for myself, but for those that I am ministering to. So more specifically, looking at pastoral supervision and just reviewing where it's come from very, very briefly. Why is there so much emphasis now on supervision, whereas 10, 12 years ago, we hardly mouthed the word. We hardly spoke the word. Well, it was the famous Royal Commission into the institutional responses to child sexual abuse that got underway in 2013, producing its final report in 2017. A very significant, we know, event for Australia as a whole, and specifically for the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, in shock and horror, one of its first implementations was the ACSL, as we've come to know it, the Australian Catholic Safeguarding Establishment, which got underway, I believe, around late 2020. And in all honesty, in preparing for this, I had a little bit of a look at some of the material that the ACSL has produced, and it's quite extraordinary the amount of work they've done in such a short time. One of those pieces of work is the document of the National Catholic Safeguarding Standards. It was created by the ACSL in collaboration with the Australian Catholic Bishops, the Catholic Religious of Australia, and the Association of Ministerial Public Juridic Persons. So it was a joint effort. The Church came together to produce certain standards that we are now really attempting to implement and live by. Just as a follow-on from all of that, we have recently published the new Integrity in Our Mission, our common mission, the National Code of Conduct for those in ministry. Interesting enough, that document mentions supervision about 7 or 8 times, but it mentions it in a way that's kind of like an everyday understanding, a natural process that we take up and we live. There's no big song and dance about it. You're in ministry, you are supervised to a degree. So I just found that interesting, that it's almost like as natural as breathing, that this supervision now is being written about in official documents. So going back to that Royal Commission and its recommendation, it's quite strong. So I would like to read that for you. Each religious institute should ensure that all people in religious or pastoral ministry, including religious leaders, have professional supervision with a trained professional or pastoral supervisor who has a degree of independence from the institution within which the person is in ministry. Quite a mouthful. The interesting words that I find there are all people in ministry, trained pastoral supervisor with a degree of independence from the situation in which the supervisee finds themselves. So that was the overarching, if you like, recommendation that, again, Church Authority in Australia has picked up and is still in the process of responding to. But I think the response has been deliberate, intentional, authentic, coming out of probably a state of absolute unbelief of what we unfortunately discovered through that commission. Following on from that overreaching or overarching statement is the National Catholic Safeguarding Standard Statement. All clergy and religious in full-time ministry participate in at least 6 hours, with the optimum being 10 hours of professional pastoral supervision each year. Clergy and religious not in full-time ministry participate in at least 6 hours of a reflective practice activity each year. I think a reasonable understanding of that last sentence would be the place of peer supervision, where people come together and reflect together on their, if it's part-time ministry, to keep them in touch with, you know, that whole reflective process and the graces that it brings. Following on from that statement, it also emphasises that all religious and clergy in ministry undertake ongoing professional development and regular appraisal. Interesting that that statement has gone from all people in ministry, more specifically to clergy and religious. I think there was a reason for that.